What up, people? Welcome to a special Sprinkle of Salt edition of the Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph podcast, featuring the one and only Mike Steph, best in the world at what he does. I double back this week because I did tell you I wasn't giving y'all another episode. I was thinking about maybe giving a live, but I wasn't giving y'all another full fledged episode. And I'm still technically not giving y'all a full fledged episode. It's just this week, this past week, these last couple days, your boy Mike Steph has embarked on some family time, on some family celebration, on some family acknowledgement of my daughter, my youngest daughter, graduating from high school, and, well, my youngest daughter, main event K, and one of my granddaughters, the tribal princess herself, graduating pre K. And these ceremonies, these celebrations, both at the opposite end of the spectrum, one being the very beginning of your journey through school, one at the second to last stop of your journey in school, from high school to the universities to the college environment. It brought up a lot of feelings, a lot of various amount of feelings, on both hands. Um, Number one, it's been 8 years since I've had to deal with, or should I say, not really deal with, but since I've actually experienced graduations, right? So that in itself, this is pre-pandemic. Last time I actually was at a graduation ceremony for one of my inner circle, so to speak, one of my tribe. So that, man, not really the tribe, but one of my inner circle, so to speak. I've been to a couple of nephews. I've been to my grandsons, but that was still technically during the pandemic. So that was 2021. Been to a niece, but when I'm talking about the grandiose type of accomplishment of high school graduation, first time in 8 years, and boy, have things changed. Things have changed. I wouldn't say for the worse, but I wouldn't say for the better. But at the same time, it's a different situation. It's the first time I had to actually experience, or I went through, or I participated in a high school graduation part of the DOE. And I know people would probably be like, well, what do you mean part of the DOE? Was that supposed to be something special? Yeah. Yes, it was. Yes, it was something special, but something special very different. Um, the two prior ones, the two prior high school graduations, was part of um, the charter school network, and not the charter school network that is my long lost. I mean, my arch enemy, my arch nemesis. No, we're not talking about school who should not be named, but has been in the news due to their hiring practices, due to their training practices. That um, this boy right here, this guy right here, this dude right here, Mike Steph, was proven right over 4 years ago, when everybody just thought I was a raving, ranting lunatic. Now I knew exactly what I was talking about. I knew exactly why I felt the way I did. But neither here nor there. The difference, it was a stark difference between charter school and DOE. Because I'm going to start with the high school graduation first, because that one's the one that I really have a lot of questions with. Of the question of the day, the question of this episode, because it's not. This is a sprinkle of salt, as you can see right down there. Has, oh my goodness, oh my goodness gracious, oh my goodness, is it me, or have graduation ceremonies changed? I ask that sincerely. Now I know I have people out in the great outdoors, the great unknown in various parts of Arizona, Miranda, Tucson, Glendale, that their high school graduations are a total different beast. You have big, sprawling campuses. You have nothing but space. You have students who drive themselves back and forth to school since sophomore year, junior year, so you can have the pomp, the circumstance. And then you have charter schools in which they, they're, I want to say my son, my youngest son, he graduated his high school graduation was on the campus at NYU University, well, New York University, NYU, in the village. Need I say more? Um, my oldest daughter, her graduation ceremony was in the Bronx, Lehman College, once again on a college campus. Was it as spiffy as NYU? No. Was it as convenient as NYU? No. Especially when we was, and I want to say how I'm trying to figure out how I could say this without coming off very, very prejudiced. Okay, matter of fact, how about this? We were packed in my Nissan Sentra at the time, like a can of sardines. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That will save me a lot of trouble. We were packed like a can of sardines in the Nissan Sentra, and still two members of the family still had to take the train all the way to the Bronx. Now, the one in the NYU, and there was no parking, so we didn't have to worry about the car. But at the same time, hop, skip, and a jump right to the village, not a problem. Main event K's graduation took place in her school. There would not be any pictures. There would not be any videos. There would not be any photos. Just me trying to paint a picture with the words that I spew out of my mouth so you can get a bird's eye view inside your third eye, hopefully. It was in the auditorium of a school. First things first, they had one thing I will say, they had a nice spread, as in the stage. The stage was nice setup, nice setup. I'll give them that. The chairs were the most uncomfortable chairs I've ever dealt with, ever. My back is still recuperating from the uncomfortability of the chairs. But once again, that's to be expected. It's graduation. It's not plush. It's not lavish. It could be. The prom, they had the prom in a nice pristine part of the borough. But I guess they blew their wad on the prom and was unable to do the ceremony. But once again, I'm not there for all the pomp, the circumstance. I'm not there for all the frills. Even if it chose to be no frills, I'm there for one reason and one reason only, and that was watch main event K walk that aisle, walk that aisle, walk across that stage, get that diploma, and officially graduate and go off to college. To never see the ungrateful classmates that she had ever again. Never see these petty juvenile delinquents ever again. Never see these petty, low down, dirty, rotten scoundrels ever again. And I know you're probably like, darn, right? You kind of went strong. No, tell you the truth, I could have gone stronger. But being the fact that I consider myself to be a changed man, um, dare I say, an evolved man, I will limit the amount of insults I will use to explain my utter contempt to the people who tried to dull the light of Main Event K. One thing about Main Event K, she is a light, she's a beacon of light that will shine, shine, shine. I shine, you shine in this state of mind. I shine, you shine. I shine, you shine. Get with it. Smith and Wesson. Come on. You don't know? I shine, you shine at this day and age. Anyway, Main Event K will not be dimmed, nor will she dim her light to allow others to shine brighter than her. Not by any type of jealousy. It's just the fact that when I shine, you shine. If we shine together, then we shine bright and we illuminate the world, right? Love how that goes. See how that goes? Anyway, here was red flag number one. So we get there, we're in the second row. Okay. Um, we had tickets. Tickets weren't really about it for us because I ended up having two leftover tickets, even though I got everybody that I needed to get in. It was a hot mess. Uh, school safety was just like, listen, yo, just let them know, say such name, they good. They good money. We send them down. All right, bet. Salute. But red flag number one, we get down there and I'm seeing people with programs. Of course, you want a program. Not only do you want a program so you can follow along the ceremony, you want a program for your souvenir, for your keepsake, for your memory, your memorabilia, so to speak. We at the time, we were a group of seven. Matter of fact, me, my wife, her sister, her sister's boyfriend. Oh, my bad. Her sister's co-worker that she happens to be dating. Yeah, because she doesn't like titles. So that's four. Her aunt, one of her aunts, five. Sister Steph, six. Brother Mart, seven. Okay. Then we had cousin Sherelle, eight. And then we had Nana, nine. So we had seven in physical form, two on their way. Total of nine. So I asked the lady behind me, I was like, excuse me, where did you get that program from? Oh, they was passing them around. Okay, no problem. So I looked to see his faculty member that has said programs in their hand. So I was like, hey, how you doing? Oh yeah, I need a program. I mean, which card? Can I get a program? No, can I get some programs? She gives me one. So I look at the one. I'm like, I need more. I need I need at least six more. Oh, we'll get around to y'all. What do you mean you'll get around to us? Why are you hoarding these programs? Did you not print enough programs? Why are these programs looking? Why are you hiding these programs like they're government cheese? Why are you stashing the programs like you done stash some yams out the Thanksgiving basket? Like, what's going on with the program? Are the programs made of gold? Are the programs going to magically get you out the ghetto? Nobody's smiling. The ghetto. Nobody's smiling. Ghetto. Nobody. That's what I smell. But once again, I'm not letting anything stop me. I'm not letting anything dull my light. So I come back with one program, and my wife is like, oh, there's seven of us. I said, yeah, I know. I told him I needed at least five more. And what did they say? They said they'll get around to it. I mean, they'll get to us. What's that supposed to mean? I don't know. So my wife got up and she promptly got more. And I know you're probably like, darn, um, the missus took care of business. I know she got everybody one, right? No. When I say more, she got one more than what I got. So we had three for a group of seven. Not only that, when the graduates made their way, dun, 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 dun. I swear, only to save my daughter from utter embarrassment, when I heard the first chords of the Macho Man, that's the first thing that came to my mind. The first thing that came to my mind, I wanted to stand in my seat and be like, "Oh yeah, graduation, dig it." But I said, you know what? I might get a pop out of it. I might just pop myself out of it. But this day is not about me. This day is not about me getting a pop. The ultimate pop is for my daughter. And do I want my daughter's legacy to be a class of 26, said student, said graduate, father stood on top of his chair and pantomime the Macho Man with Miss Elizabeth walking down the aisle. Go down, Elizabeth. Didn't think that was an opportune thing to do. So I chose not to. But in my mind, best believe my finger was. So as the chords of pomp and circumstance come and they waltz down the line, dun, 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 dun. Everybody comes in, and I see the faculty member giving one row a program. And these are the graduates. So one row. So one program per row. And then they broke it down and said, all right, two programs per row. So one half had to share and the other half had to share. I'm like, okay. But meanwhile, while I'm walking around, while I see the faculty member with the programs walking around, I still see a little bit stack. The paper was all right. You know, they had some ink on it, some blue and green ink on it, which to tell you the truth, what are my favorite colors. It was white paper, gloss paper. Okay. But once again, I neglected to see any gold that these said programs made of. But fine. So we're going down the line, we're going down the list of the ceremony, and red flag number two. And this actually started yesterday and it continued today. Started in the high school and it's continued into pre-K. I didn't even know they still do this. They started the Pledge of Allegiance. The Pledge of Allegiance. I pledged allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now, listen, I just repeated that because that's what the Pledge of Allegiance is. Did I stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Halfway through. Then I was like, you know what? Let me be respectful. All right, I'll actually take my hat off. But I ain't reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I've known the Pledge of Allegiance since I was in first grade. Because back in the 80s, that was like Cold War time. You said the Pledge of Allegiance, you sang the Star Spangled Banner, and then because I lived in a black neighborhood, we did Lift Every Voice and Sing, which they actually followed up. And I give them credit. They started with Lift Every Voice and Sing, and then followed it up with with the Pledge of Allegiance, which in some ways was good, and some things like, darn, you just got past, like, you could have just, nobody would have cared. Nobody would have cared. Really, nobody would have cared. Even though I did hear somebody proud back there with liberty and justice for all. Don't get me wrong. Listen, I live in the United States. Um, do I consider myself patriotic? Not really. I live in the United States. You know, trust me. I know we have liberties, or at least we had liberties that other nations didn't have, and I don't take those for granted. But also, being the fact that how it gets weaponized, especially in these day and times. Listen, I ain't going to be quick to. Am I on the stand? Am I having an oath? Am I pledging allegiance? Anyway, but lift every voice and sing. I was singing my heart out. Lift every voice and sing to earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmony of liberty. Let us rejoice and rise high as the glistening skies. Let us march on to victory is won. Say, you get the gist. But they pulled a rabbit out the hat. We didn't do the short version. We didn't do just the first verse. We did second verse. And you know what happened with the second verse? Nobody knew the words for the second verse. Neither did I. And because the program is not near me, I'm not going to be able to sing the second verse. But that was a fly in the ointment. Red flag number 2. So we had a keynote speaker, alumni of 2018, which was very inspirational, I will say. She message that she gave to children were great. Well, the young adults were great. All about being an individual, not being a follower. Create their own path, and of course, being their own light and not dimming their light for anyone, which was great. We had the speech from the principal. It looked like she just woke up. More on that later. We had the salutatorian, who gave a rousing speech. Then we had the valedictorian that gave a 1-minute speech. I don't know if he was forced. I don't know if he was rushed, or he just said, you know what? That's what I got for y'all. That's all, folks. Give my give me my diploma and I'm out of here. I already got the highest average of the class. What y'all want from me? Y'all want an inspirational speech? I want to get out of here and eat. My man. So we end off with the award ceremony where everybody came across the stage, get their awards for honor rolls and so forth, and their trophy. Yes, trophy. I'm looking at it right now. I'm not going to share it because that's something between my daughter and her family, um, myself, her mom, and others. If she wanted me to do it, then she would say so, but I'm not going to do it without her permission. But let's just say I do give a thumbs up for the trophy. When she gave it to me so I could see it afterward, I put it up like I've put the ones up. Ugh, it was beautiful. But here's the after. Here's the backstory. The graduation was supposed to start at 3 o'clock, 3 p.m. sharp. It didn't say sharp, but I said sharp. Do you know what time the graduation started? Now, listen, I know graduation most of the time don't start on time. Sometimes we do CP time. Those who know, those who don't, figure it out. But we started the graduation at 3:45. Yes, 3:45. 45 minutes late. And then I heard it through the grapevine that um, one of the faculty members, well, the head faculty member, felt that the graduation went too long, even though, come to find out, they were the reason why said graduation started 45 minutes late because they were stalling, waiting for that member. Can't make it up. Can't make it up. And when they got there, like I said, it looked like they just woke up. They were on the podium, like, yeah, listen, guys. It's been a great 4 years. I'm very proud of you. But matter of fact, I think the very proud part came after the roll call of shout outs to all these people that nobody knows nor care about. To people in the district office, people, superintendents, people from New Visions, the photographers. It was almost like a Oscar speech without actually thanking the people who made this possible, which were the students. The students should have been first, should have been foremost, and should have been it. I could care less about superintendent such and such. I could care less about board member such and such. I could care less about faculty member such and such. I could care less about teacher such and such. The salutatorian did say something slick that probably went over a lot of people's head, but did not go over mine. When she specifically shouted out the faculty members that actually cared, that actually was devoted, were actually supportive of the students, especially in this last year of high school that they just experienced. Do you know? Do you know? Do you know? Do you know? There was no yearbook. Yeah, I said it. There was no yearbook. Why? Utter confusion. Do you know that there was no senior trip? Why? Utter incompetence. Now, to the question at hand, is it me or have graduation ceremonies changed? I don't know. I just know these last 2 months in the lead up to this really had me undecided, or should I say unexcited? Unexcited, not for the prospect of my daughter graduating. No, no, please no. It went better than my wildest expectations. Um, I will forever be honored and forever um, be grateful and forever be ecstatic that my daughter, my youngest, my last child, walked or walked across that stage, graduated, and is now off to college. So no, 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 that's not to diminish anything from that. But where did my senior dues money go? Just asking. It had nothing to do with the prom because the prom was extra. So my senior dues money went to where? No senior trip, no yearbook, um, a half a program, or should I say a program I had to share with 3 other people. Where did it go? It's not about the money, it's the principle. It's the principality. It's the principality, Smokey. The principality. Now, we fast forward 24 hours. Matter of fact, less than 24 hours later, when I'm in the boogie down at the pre-K graduation ceremony of the tribal princess herself, one of my granddaughters, who once again, picture will not be shown, location will not be shared because there's a whole bunch of dirty, perverted sick freaks out there that might get their jollies or such things. So it would not definitely not be on this podcast episode. And if you try to check my social media, guess what? It won't be up there either. Unfortunately, I learned late in life that everything is not to be shared on social media at all. Could I go through the painstaking work of scrubbing my social media for all the pictures of my children when they were younger? Yeah, I could. But that's a period in time that I'm okay with. Now, 10, 15 years later, I choose not to share those things. The people who I want to share those with, they would get it individually. But I say all that to say this. We get up there and pre-K slash daycare or daycare slash pre-K, whatever you want to say it, has changed in 30 years. Oh, has it changed? I'm currently looking at a picture. Actually, I'm currently looking at two pictures. I'm currently looking at a picture of my oldest son, Nakai, when he graduated kindergarten out of daycare, and his youngest son, Zaire, when he graduated pre-K. They had caps and gowns. They had little rolled up papers that simulated a diploma. My tribal princess, she did get a certificate. They gave each and every child a certificate, a award specifically for them or what they do well, what they're remembered of, what they represent. And I thought that was cool. But I will say this, and this actually had nothing to do with the school. Society at large have no manners. Have no manners. None. None. When I say they have no manners, they push, they pull, they step in front of you to take a picture of their grubby old child. You think your child is more special than mine? You think your grandchild is more special than mine? Do you think you're made of glass? Even though you have a big old forehead and a yay right that rounds your glass? Couldn't even couldn't even care to get your hair done? Did you wash your did you wash your j- did you wash your clothes? Listen, am I being disrespectful right now? No, I'm just speaking the truth. I'm speaking the facts. Just the facts. If I want to take a picture of my tribal princess, you not need be in the way to take care of your snot nosed punk. Your 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 little child that's crying rivers, crying buckets. Man up. I know you're only 4 years old, but man up. Disgraceful. Then you got another person's kid walking around with a snotty nose, looking like the dude from Martin. If you're that concerned with your child, guess what? Go up there and wipe his darn nose. He should not be contaminating the rest of the class, i.e., the rest of the hall, i.e., the rest of the people in this ceremony. Now, my tribal princess is a gracious tribal princess. After the ceremony, we're outside, and every one of her classmates, she made sure she greeted, she made sure they acknowledged her. People asked, Can I get some of your, can I get a cheese puff? Yes, you can get a cheese puff. Here you go. Did she get a thank you? No. Not only did she give one, this little greedy girl wanted another one. Can I get another one, my tribal princess? Since she's benevolent one, she said, sure, why not? I will bestow you another cheese puff. And then, not only that, when said ungrateful girl walks off with the tribal with the cheese puff given to her by the tribal princess, you know what the tribal princess bellows? I love you. I'll see you later. Listen, my name's Mike Steph. I go by the moniker the OSC. Do you know what the OSC stands for? The original spousal chief. And of course, if I'm the original spousal chief, then I must have tribal princes and tribal princesses. I have two tribal princesses and I have two tribal prince. Tribal princess that's in the city with me right now, that's the one I'm referring to. She had a keen ear. She heard the familiar wailings of ice cream truck. Yeah, I know that's Jack in the Box. So what? And she said, Pop Pop. I said, yes. She said, we must get ice cream. I said, we must? She said, yes, we must. I said, okay. Lead the way, my tribal princess. So she led the way to no ice cream truck. So when I brought to attention my tribal princess, there's no ice cream truck in the vicinity. She said, we must wait. I said, huh? She said, we must wait. I said, why? She said, because I heard one. That means it must be coming. I said, okay. So we waited and we waited. And then I gave a suggestion. I'm like, we can go to McDonald's and get ice cream there. Okay, we can go to McDonald's and get a Happy Meal and some ice cream. Okay, my tribal princess. That's where we go. So that's where we went. But before I get off the track, the ceremony. Now they had a slideshow at the end where, of course, they captured your child in one of their special moments throughout the year, which was great. You know, they had the Bruno Mars. I love you and you love me. Be there. I swear, it's that when you add that soundtrack to the little ones, your eyes just well up in tears, well up in water, well up in the tear ducts just get full. But there's only one problem with this slideshow. And the problem was this. The slideshow was for the class of 2026, which is this year right now. The year that was on the slideshow said 2022. So which lazy faculty member forgot to change one digit? Was it that hard to ask? Was that hard to expect for you to have? You had one job. You had one job and you failed. How are you supposed to be a leader of young young boys and girls? Supposed to be a paragon of virtue. And that's right, you failed. You failed your assignment. You failed the assignment. You failed your job. You failed the children on their special day, their first special day in their life, in their educational journey. You failed them. 2022. You change the two, and you delete the two, and you input it with a six. Simple. Could you have done that? Did you do that? No. And to harken back to the day before at main event K's graduation, her tassel, luckily, said 2026, or should I say 26. But imagine the horror that I thought when my wife went down on the floor and picked up a tassel that said 24. I had to think. I'm like, oh, is a tassel correct? A cousin there, I was like, yo, y'all paid money, right? Think y'all should get a refund. Trust me. When it came to the part with the programs, I already was thinking, ching, refund. But at the same time, ching, we out of here. Thank you. Appreciate you for the 4 years. Because to be honest, I didn't have a problem with communication, but at the same time, it was a hot mess. Oh, is this it? Ah, see, main event came. I must have woke up. 2024. So just so y'all know that I am not lying. And where did this come from? The floor. So either A, they didn't sweep that floor in 2 years, or somebody thought they got a tassel with 2026 and they realized, or maybe they realized it was 2024 and threw it on the ground and said, you know what? I'll go without the tassel. Which one do you think? I think it was the latter. Okay. See, Main Event K does not want to be on camera, but she is giving me props because she wants to make sure that her swag is seen. This is her graduation cap. We did it. We did it, Kai. We did it. Now, just so y'all don't think, and she wanted to make sure that I didn't know. I mean, I didn't. 2026, but she made sure hers would be dazzled, hers is sparkling, hers is shining. I shine, you shine. I shine, you shine. Look at this. Look at this. She got the fur like Trick Williams, Trick Willie, the lemon pepper steppers. She got the tiara, even though somebody was trying to hate. But guess what? I already took them to task. Pointing like, look at her, look at her. Yeah, look at her for the last time. I swear, if I wanted to be vulgar, I would, but I won't. But best believe, my daughter wasn't sweating nothing. She stunted the last two opportunities to stunted. You have something to say? Which one to show me? Oh, okay. Yeah, she wanted to make sure that this got on air. Well, she wanted to make sure she showed me because she knew I was doing this. All right. But last but not least, because I almost forgot. Back to the pre-K celebration. Little comic relief here. The one thing I will show you, because I don't care, they ain't nobody to me, is part of the speech by, I don't know if it's a director, teacher, somebody, one of the people running the ceremony. And here we go.
To see these moments every day, we've seen acts of kindness, big imaginations, contagious laugh, incredible curiosity.
Now, if you didn't see, if you didn't see that clip, there was somebody with a big head right in front of me with all this fake hair. Probably took like 12 hours for them to get their hair braided. So I know they just felt great, but not I'm going to ignore them. I'm going to concentrate on the speaker. There are these probably these cartoons that are on Instagram about Dora the Explorer when she grows up and what a loser Dora the Explorer ended up being, and how Boots is like strung out. Dora is stressed. She been running from the ICE. She can't get a job, or can't get a job to her liking. She's still at home. She's drinking, smoking. You know, her and Boots got a little thing, and for some reason, this lady reminded me of Dora in real
To
life.
see these moments every day. We've seen acts of kindness, big imaginations, contagious laugh, incredible curiosity.
Hey guys, how about today we show off our incredible curiosity? Yay! Hey guys, how about today we show off our acts of kindness?
To
Yay!
see these moments every day. We've seen acts of kindness, big imaginations, contagious.
Hey guys, do you want to see my big imagination? No? You don't want to see my big imagination? You know what people call my big imagination, right? Well, I'll give you one guess, guys. My big imagination spawned four children of mine. My big imagination spawned four grandchildren of mine. My big imagination leaves my wife pleasantly happy and pleasantly satisfied for over 30 years. Yes, yes, yes. I do all that without a pair of red boots on my feet. That's what my big imagination is. Or as they said in 2008, 2007, 2009, imagination can be substituted for my ego. Okay. Okay. Maybe I took it a little bit too far. Maybe I took it a little bit too far. But yeah. So what I'm going to ask for y'all guys to do is put in the comment section some of the memories that you had of the last graduation ceremony that you attended. Whether it was yours, whether it was a close friend of yours, whether it was your significant others, children that happen not to be yours, whether it's your children, your grandchildren, your children's children, put it in the comment section below. Yes, yes, so we can all be a nice big family. Yes, 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 we can. Yes, we can. Bob the Builder. Yes, we can. Bob the Builder. Yes, we can. Yay! Well, people, that brings us to the end of another exciting episode of the Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph podcast, aka this sprinkle of salt edition of the Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph podcast. I'd like to thank each and every one of y'all for making me and this here podcast the one y'all choose to view and the one y'all choose to listen to. Please like, subscribe, press the notification button, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. So when I decide to drop, you will be the first ones to hear it. Yeah. Before I go, I am going to share with y'all for the last 10 minutes of this or so Because at this point in time, 50 minutes in, I might as well make it an even hour, right? I'm going to share with y'all that I'm recording this on Thursday. And do you know, does everyone know what Thursday is, boys and girls? Thursday, in the world of Mike Steph, is Dolly Cake Thursday. Yes, Dolly Cake Thursday. And for those who don't know what dolly cakes are, I will expound. Dolly cakes are my rendition of pancakes. I make pancakes. And the mix that I use, it's a Dolly Parton buttermilk complete mix. Why do you ask? Because it tastes scrumptious. It tastes delicious. Delicioso.
To see these moments every day. We've seen acts of kindness.
The kindness is me making dolly cakes because they're so delicioso. Anyway, so because of my graduation responsibilities, I took off work as a real man should, as a real pop should, as a real father should, yesterday and today. On Thursdays, I make pancakes and take them to work for lunch slash dinner. Because I was home, people thought that my routine was going to change. Uh, 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 uh. What's it going to change? So when I'm in the house, the only difference is when I make pancakes on my way to work, usually I'm the only one in the house. Or my oldest daughter just really doesn't pay no mind. But because I was in the house at a regular time and I'm making pancakes at about 8, 9 o'clock at night, people really thought I was joking when they asked me, Dad, what you eating? Babe, what you eating? Pancakes. No, but seriously, what you eating? Pancakes. Really? Yeah, pancakes. And so when I start making a mix and chefing it up, giving that whip game proper, they thought I was BSing. No, 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 no. So I made about 12 pancakes. And they thought, "Oh, you're gonna eat all those pancakes?" Yes, I am. Yes, he is. So when I was sitting in the living room with my empty plate, they must have thought it was a joke. They must have thought I was playing. They must have thought that I was lying. That I was not going to eat all 12 pancakes. Guess what? I proved them wrong. Oh boy, did I prove them wrong. So that brought up a conversation with Main Event K. Matter of fact, the lovely Mia said, "Oh, that was greedy." Well, no, it wasn't. I made 12 pancakes and I ate all 12. How was that greedy? It would be greedy if I ate 8 and then wanted 4 more. But no, I knew ahead of time I was going to eat all 12 pancakes. Main Event K was like, "You really ate pancakes?" I was like, "Yes, I did." She said, "You all ate all 12?" Yes, I did. What part of 12 did y'all not understand? So she said, um, Dad? I said, "Yeah." She said, I always call them dolly cakes. She was like, you know, so you ate the white woman's pancake? And I was like, you know what? Tell you the truth, that's who you should that's who you should thank for actually getting this episode when you got it. Because I had this in my mind. I had all this in my mind. And then I had the itis. I was sitting on the couch. I was like this. Darn, I'm full. Got the itis, you know. Not only did I say I got the itis, uh, Bleacher Report said I had the itis. My wife said I had the itis. This couch said I had the itis. Sports Illustrated said I had the itis. Everybody said I had the itis. But Main Event K just had to prove and went to see if I really had the itis or not. So she made me and Dolly Cakes a racial thing, which made me think. A couple months ago, I actually put up on an episode that I actually deleted because of the nature of the episode didn't align with um my current place in life. The sense of humor I have and I used to like to display, I just didn't feel right with this episode, so I deleted it. But a part of the episode that actually I didn't have a problem with, it's just if I wasn't going to put the whole thing out, I just wasn't going to put it, was I actually had a segment on dolly cakes and how I felt that maybe I was going against the culture because I was choosing the white woman's pancake over Aunt Jemima, over Bisquick, over, well, yeah, those are only two ones I can think of. So I present to you from the vault. My whole life, I had Aunt Jemima. The results? Disappointing. The fluffiness was gone. The sweetness non-existent. I was utterly depressed. When I put it on the griddle, it bubbled up immediately. And before people say, well, that means you put too much water in it. No. I actually added extra mix. And as soon as I put it on the griddle, it started bubbling over. It started bubbling. That means I had to turn it over. Now, a certain someone that's in my family circle, not family, but in my family circle, mentioned that maybe I should slow cook it. And I'm looking at him like, do you know who the hell I am? I'm Mr. Pancake. I'm the Pancake King. Nigga, don't tell me how to make pancakes. But he might have had a point. Maybe the fire was too high and it didn't allow it to rise and get fluffy. But I never had to deal with that with Dolly. Nearly 2 years ago, that changed my life. It was a new pancake mix from a familiar and loved face, Dolly Parton. She has a baking line out: cake icings, brownies, cake mix, biscuits, and finally, pancakes. Yes, I was shocked. I was intrigued. So I bought it. And I was amazed. Amazed, I tell you. The fluffiness, the subtle sweetness. Almost to the point that you only have to add butter and little to no syrup. Now, Dolly Parton does come out with syrup. Don't go with the syrup. Stay with Aunt Jemima for the syrup, which is even more blasphemous. Like, don't eat the black woman's pancakes, but use the black woman's syrup. Use her natural sweetness. Not Mrs. Butterworth, Aunt Jemima. Instantly, Dolly Parton's pancakes became my favorite. I coined the term dolly cakes. People say flapjacks. People say hot cakes. No. Griddle cakes. No. Dolly cakes. Only problem is you can only find them where I can only find them at Walmart. See, I had that problem. I could only find them at Walmart until, and this is where I'm going to actually end this episode on, until my friend, my compadre, my hermano, if you will, Smitty from the group home in Bergen Beach, let me know where I could find my dolly cake. So we have an impromptu Smitty's Corner. Smitty from the group home in Bergen Beach put me on the game and told me where I could find the elusive Dolly Parton pancake in the borough of Brooklyn. Not only did he tell me where I could find them, he did one better. He bought me 3 boxes and brought them to my place of business because he heard how distraught I was over not having any dolly cakes. He heard in my voice say, "You know what? My boy don't sound right. He sound like he's losing his mind. He sound like he feels he feels guilt because he's having to resort to inferior product. So guess what? I'm going to make sure that my bro, Mike Steph, has the product that he needs, has the product that he deserves." So not only he didn't get me 1 box, he didn't get me 2 boxes, he got me 3. That's right, 3 boxes of dolly cake. And that allowed me not to go through withdrawal. That allowed me to continue my dolly cake Thursdays, and even more so, put the put the fire under my butt to make sure I get him his long awaited case of Blue Moon beer that I've owed him for the last 3 or 4 years. Matter of fact, what? It's been 3.5 years since I stopped drinking, so at least about 4 years since I owe him a case of Blue Moon beer, or maybe just a bottle of Crown Royal. Because listen, if anybody knows Smitty from the group home in Bergen Beach, yeah, Smitty's doing the darn thing. Um, the transformation is phenomenal. It's wonderful. Salute to my man Smitty from the group home in Bergen Beach, and thanks not only for the dolly cakes, but thanks for being an inspiration for everybody who doesn't understand the words. Yes, we can. Bob the matter of fact, Smitty's Corner. Yes, we can. Smitty's Corner. Yes, we can. Yeah, now that really brings us to the end of this edition of Sprinkle of Salt, Salty Thoughts to Mike Step podcast. Um, Shoot, will this be the only episode y'all get until next week? I don't know, but I know Sunday and Monday I will not be around. I will not be in town. Well, I might be in town. Listen, I'm just not gonna be around to record. How about that? So it's a chock full of nothing going on this weekend, unless you're a wrestling fan. And I have my thoughts on wrestling or wrestling fandom. A lot of mother effers are weird. Um, I'll say this before I get out of it, because like, why not? Wrestling fandom, what people don't understand. No, people. Let's put it this way: people get weird when it comes to wrestling fandom. What floats your boat might not float somebody else's boat, but that does not mean that you have to critique or comment on everything, especially if it doesn't involve you, or even more so, if you already know what it is and you just feel like putting your 2 cents in. Once again, it goes to that age old tale, which the Mojo King aptly did correct me for. Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Nah, nah, nah. I get that's the saying that Mike Tyson said, but my saying is better. Everybody's a tough guy until they get punched in their mouth. And maybe, just maybe, society would be better if more people got punched in the mouth. I'm not advocating violence. Not at all. Not at all. I'm a non-violent dude. I'm a very benevolent dude. Listen, I haven't had a fight in 40 years and not trying to have one. Matter of fact, maybe for 35. But regardless, not trying to have one. But, but, if more people got punched in the face, then more people would be careful with how they talk to other people in this the ether web, so to speak, the internet, so to speak, social media, so to speak. People wouldn't be free bumping their gums if there was a possibility that 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 chinna get knocked, the chinna get rocked, the jaw get tapped. Yo, watch your jaw. Better watch your jaw. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. The discord that I've seen over the week, it's crazy because we're all grown men, and my thing is like if it don't apply, let it fly. But especially if you know what you're talking about or you know what's going on and you chose to put your 2 cents in, it should never escalate. But who am I? What am I to say? I'm just a dude that does a podcast when he feels like doing it. But more importantly, I'm a dude that's going to get out of here because I really don't feel like wasting any more time on that. Salute, salute to the people. And to those who don't deserve a salute. So, listen, I don't got nothing to say. I'm a champion. Well, I'm a champion. My team just won a championship for the first time in 53 years. I have nothing to worry about, nothing to care about. Even though this Jay-Z little takeover thing, um, listen, maybe I'll hit a live and talk about that because there's a lot of people that if you're in your 40s and 50s and you still going gaga, Google gaga over Jay-Z, you need to get yourself checked. Ooh, that hurt. I'm getting out of here. Until later.